It is undescribable, to be honest. It's something that we have never experienced before.
The normal was no longer normal.
Our emergency operations office has been open for over a year, and that's just one indication of how long we've been focused on the pandemic response.
To try to manage the daily work that we have to do anyway on the county level with the protection of our citizens and how to accommodate them, it was a challenge for our administration and for the commissioners.
It felt very isolated. I was trying to make sure that myself and my family stayed safe and that I was able to stay healthy to be able to service my district.
COVID-19 really was an eye-opener to how vulnerable our vulnerable population could be.
There's a disproportionate impact on people that are already in poverty, of people of color, and certainly folks that are on a limited budget, a lot of our aging population, a lot of our retired folks. This has been absolutely something that they were not prepared for. There were no savings for this type of thing.
We do have a lot of underserved individuals that have financial stresses in their lives prior to the pandemic that have only been exacerbated.
One of the longest lasting effects that we're seeing from COVID is, of course, the shortage of workers. And that's not just in our community, but it's everywhere.
You have businesses that are completely destroyed in terms of financially. They're never going to open back up again. And during the COVID pandemic, you have businesses that had to downsize in order to stay open. And now that they've had to downsize, they can't get their employees back again for whatever reason.
People really need to understand that this was real. I had some commissioners who did not believe it was real until two of my commissioners went to the hospital with it.
We've had some residents who are concerned and probably mistrust government more.
It just became even more apparent to me how important it is not to get your news off of social media, not to jump or hear something and take your word for it. It's extremely important to fact check. It's extremely important to educate yourself. And it's extremely important to educate our communities about the things that they need to do when something like that is going on.
You could not please everyone, and that was very difficult. You couldn't even please half the people.
For me, I think about the direct impacts of just how we manage public health, the communication. I hope we see some changes in the future, local, state, nationally, to help really re-emphasize that this is for all of our good when we have to deal with something this extreme.
While it's been a very trying year, the Florida Association of Counties really was there to support. They really galvanized around us that were really struggling, and we were having some real difficulties in our areas. Broward County had a high death rate as a result of COVID-19, and my colleagues from FAC and the Florida Association of Counties, they really just rallied around myself and Dade County and the areas that were really experiencing that. And I just want to say thank you.
There's nothing stronger than a community. Whenever we all pull together and work as a team, we can accomplish and overcome anything. Even the largest pandemic that we've ever experienced in anybody who's still alive's lifetime.
What I saw in Leon County over this last year was an incredible effort from local government at the county level, city, working with the private sector, working with our hospitals, with the schools, with law enforcement, all working together to keep people safe. And it was tremendous to see this effort taking place.
I think this has really illuminated, like so many of us have talked about, some really entrenched issues, and I hope that that experience inspires us to make sure we never have to go through this again.
At the end of the day, we're all human, and so we have to remember that we have to help one another and we have to work together in order to defeat things like the pandemic.
I believe that there's a greater day forward for us, and every day is an opportunity to try to get it right.